Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to Innocent Life, a futuristic Harvest Moon. We have now started our farming life. We've started in the Easter ruins with our first few plants that we're going to harvest at the end of the week. Unfortunately, this week we are kind of stuck here, mostly kind of still in the tutorial phase, just kind of taking care of a couple of seeds so that we can harvest them. And I was originally going to sort of skip as many days as I could in this first week, but then I realized that there are a couple of NPCs that come to visit us who we didn't originally meet when we met a lot of the other villagers who came to visit us at the ruins. So we're going to sort of talk to those people. We're going to kind of skip through a few of these days really quite quickly, and there's a couple of other things that I can talk about. So to start off every single day, what I like to do is I like to start the day off by cooking. Now, I mentioned in the last video that we can learn new recipes every single Monday. But in the meantime, we can practice what few recipes we have available until we've sort of mastered them. So we're still working on tea. Today we made it a little bit too strong, but if we make it again tomorrow, we should be able to sort of perfect it. After I cook, I then head up to the farm. And as you can see here, there's a few people waiting for us. This farm is even bigger than the rumors led me to believe. Trying to farm a place like this by hand is ridiculous. You're absolutely right, sir. I thought Dr. Hope was going to invent some amazing new farming machine, but it's just a boy. All the more reason for the Banks Corporation to take the lead in carving out this island's future. I really hope you don't believe what that crazy old man said about the spirits destroying the island, Charles. Of course not, as if something like that could happen in this day and age. Let's get back to town. Would you like to try driving my car, sir? No, I'd better not. I'd hate to put a dent in that car of yours. Shall we get going? Oh, it's you. Pardon us. We heard that Dr. Hope had bought a new farm, so we decided to come and see it for ourselves. Well, goodbye. Nice to meet you. I'm Charles Gramley. My father is the mayor of Volcano Town. Dr. Hope told me about you, Robo. Neither I nor my father want to poke our noses into Dr. Hope's business. But if it were to get around that you weren't really a human, it could cause problems. You can keep a secret, right? Just tell everyone that you're one of the doctor's relatives. Farewell! So yeah, Marco and Charles. Marco we had never met before or even really heard of, but his son was at the ruins a little bit earlier. He was the rude one that was inspecting our water. His son, Big, was here. Marco runs one of the biggest companies on the island, and he's also Marcia's father. Marcia, our little friend that we have made. She doesn't really like her family much, and she kind of prefers to spend a lot of time with her grandparents, so it's sort of hard to put those two together in the beginning, but believe it or not, they are related. So Marco will remain pretty skeptical of us and our abilities throughout the game. That's sort of something we have to get used to. And Charles we had seen in the introduction of the game, but we hadn't actually met him yet until now. Him and his father were looking at the application for citizenship that Dr. Hope had put in for us. So now that we've watered our plants, that's pretty much the only goal that we had in mind for today. Now, we're not allowed to leave the ruins, but we can explore around the area, so if we wanted, if we're up late enough, we can go visit Moonlight, but he doesn't really have a whole lot to say. We can visit Franco if we'd like. He might have something to say. Robo, it seems like your body restores a lot of its power while you're sleeping. Don't work too hard. If you get tired, just take a rest in bed. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory advice, thank you. Okay, what else to talk about? These doors here with the jewels are sealed shut. These are part of the ruins that are sealed by an ancient power, and we'll be able to eventually unlock those as we complete some of the game's goals. There's a little area down this slope near the water side, and we've got these, they kind of look like flowers, but it's actually an item called strange moss. And these can be found, they kind of seem to regenerate every single day, so it's really hard to run out of these. So feel free to pick as many as you would like. You can pick these up and then put them into your item bin, and what those do is it allows you to make watering easier. If you take this and spread it on your fields, the soil will retain water longer. Each one is good for 9 squares of land. Collect more when the season changes. So I'll demonstrate how to use those once we get the opportunity to plant more seeds. It doesn't work on seeds that you've already planted. You have to put the strange moss on the tilled soil before you put any sort of seed on it. So just keep that in mind. It's a very useful item though, so we are going to be using that. Another thing to kind of note about the property, besides this thing, which Moonlight will talk a little bit more about on Sunday, this is an ancient battle bot, which no longer works. I forgot that that actually existed, so that put me off my train of thought. What I was going to talk about is the various trees and other things that you can see around your plot of land here. You can actually go up to trees and inspect them, and it will tell you when they will bear fruit. So unlike some other Harvest Moon games, we can't actually plant trees. We can plant flowers, but there are some trees that will give us fruits at certain times of the year. And then there's also some other plants growing. So for example, we've got strawberry plants here, which we can start to get fruit from in summer. So that's something you can do. You can kind of go around and inspect what's kind of growing around the property, when you can expect to get a little bit of extra cash flow from all this wild stuff that's growing. And the one last thing I want to show off on this particular day is what happens if we try and leave the property. So for example, if we try and just go further into the forest by using this bridge, we'll be stopped. Stopped by the bell telling us that it's evening, which is not what I had intended. We should be stopped by Franco, I do believe. Yeah, you can hear Franco's voice coming from somewhere. Hey Robo, you still haven't shipped your crops, you better get back to the ruins. And then you'll automatically be forced to turn around and come back. So yes, we are trapped here. Again, like I mentioned, very little to do, so that's why it's kind of nice to sort of just zoom by your first week very quickly. You can skip a lot of time until we can get into town and we can sort of get into the good stuff. So what I'll do now is I'll go back to my room. I'm going to put some of this strange moss into the item bin because I'm not going to be needing it, and we have a very limited amount of inventory space, and I would like to be able to keep my inventory somewhat free. When we go into town, we may be able to do some shopping. Now that's kind of unlikely because we don't have a lot of money, but it's still nice to sort of keep the inventory nice and tidy. Now unfortunately in this game items do not stack, so each seed bag is going to take up space, each piece of strange moss. Just sort of keep that in mind. And the game will tell you when your inventory is full, so nothing to worry about there. And now I think it's time to go to sleep, and then we will start the next day. So again, just sort of rinse and repeat. We're going to get up, we're going to start the day off by making ourselves a nice cup of tea. Hopefully we can master this and move on to coffee tomorrow morning. This time we decided to make apple tea. The scent of apples wafts from the teapot. So I'm going to assume that means that we did good. And then each time you make something successfully and each time you cook, you will be increasing your stats. So it's also important to cook for that reason. And today, if we go up to the farm, we can see that there's 2 new NPCs to talk to. So this is Million. He runs the store in town. I'll probably be selling your crops at my place, so I thought I'd come and check your farm out. I hope you'll make a lot of fresh and tasty veggies for me. Oh, I hope so too. Ugh, what a pain. Why do I have to come all the way down here? So you're Robo, huh? Who cares? Lenny, why do you always have to be like that? You're never gonna get anywhere with that attitude. Why can't you be more like Emma? Here we go again. You always have to compare me to my sister. Fine, whatever. Don't mind him, Robo. He's always like this. Come here, you. Maybe I can knock some sense into that head of yours. Ow! Hey, stop it! Ouch! So, a little bit of a brief introduction to those two. Million we're going to be seeing quite a bit of, because he does run the only store in town, so he's fairly important. Lenny is his assistant. We don't really have much to do with Lenny. We will be seeing him in a few sort of events, and we'll be able to meet other members of his family, like his sister, for example, so... I think those are the only NPCs that come to us in our first week from what I remember. Today is Wednesday, I do believe? Yeah, Wednesday. So we have to wait until Sunday to actually go into town. So we still have quite a bit of time left. So now that we've watered our plants again, let's go talk to Franco. And I do believe that he has something to give us. Oh, hello, Robo. Are you getting used to farm work yet? Yeah, I got the hang of it. That's good. Then maybe you'll be able to use this. And he gives us our first sickle. If you have a sickle, you can get rid of any grass or weeds that are in your way. Why don't you try using it when you're done watering for the day? Well, funny you should say that, because I am done watering for the day, so we can go up and use the sickle to get rid of some of that grass, which is going to kill a little bit of time. And as you can see here, we still have plenty of strange moss down here by the waterside, so again, you know, if you are a little bit reluctant to just skip days, you know, a lot of people I know don't like to skip days because they think it's a waste even when there's not much to do. This is kind of an activity that you can do. You can gather strange moss, put it in your item box, come back and collect more. Pretty much do that as much as you want to your heart's desire. Now that we have the sickle, we can spend a lot of time cutting down weeds and grass. And we have a fair bit of stamina, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. We've done all our watering for the day, but we still have all of that energy that we can put to good use. So really, realistically, you can spend a lot of time cutting down weeds. So let's go ahead and try that now. We'll go ahead and we will equip the iron sickle. And just like with watering, it takes up 1 PP each time that we cut down a piece of grass. And we've worked into the afternoon, so, I mean, the days do go by pretty quickly, to be fair. We haven't really done much, but it's already about 10 o'clock in the morning. And remember that each time you use your sickle, you'll be leveling up the tool as well. So this is also a good way to sort of grind the weapon up, so to speak. Kind of feels weird to think about grinding in a Harvest Moon game, but leveling up your tools, you're only going to be able to do that by actually using it. it is good to take the time to cut down some weeds if you have some extra time in the day, or if you've run out of things to do but you still have plenty of time left. If you're wanting to utilize more space on your farm. For example, we just cleared out this whole area of weeds, and now we'll be able to till all of this soil, and we can use that to plant more seeds if we want to. Same with this little area here. We could plant a few seeds here if we'd like to, now that we've cleared it out. Now, because this is such a big area, as you can see, there are a lot of weeds to get rid of, so this is going to give us something to do, and then hopefully once we get our hammer and our axe, we can clear out this place for good, because as we can see here, there's plenty of rocks and lumber and stuff in the way as well. Okay, so now I think I've pretty much talked about everything that I wanted to talk about in the few days that we've been on the farm. And like I said, I don't recall there being any other NPCs around or anything really important to talk about until Sunday. The main things I really wanted to go over was the sickle and the few people that come to visit, and I figured it was a good time to sort of talk about the wildlife growing around, the strange moss, you know, those sorts of things. So hopefully, if nothing else gets in the way, I will be seeing you guys on Sunday, when we will actually be able to leave the Easter ruins and we can do a little bit more in town. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.